For centuries, rabbis dreaded having to prepare a sermon for this Shabbos, which has the combined Torah portions of Tazria and Metzora. What can one possibly say about the laws of leprosy that are listed in these Torah portions? Not much. But in the last 75 years, our salvation arrived. For it is usually within the week before, the week during, or the week after the Torah portions of Tazria-Metzora that the calendar has us celebrating the 5th day of Iyar, Israel Independence Day, the 75th anniversary of the reestablishment of the State of Israel. That there's plenty to talk about. So today I want to dazzle you with my brilliance and talk about both Tazria-Metzora and Israel Independence Day. And let's see how we can do it. It has been pointed out numerous times that the word Metzora, the word for leprosy, is a combination of two words, motzi ra, one who gossips and speaks badly about others. Such a person could contract leprosy. What is considered the worst form of speaking badly about others? Interestingly enough, according to one of the sages in the Talmud, the worst form of speaking badly is to speak bad about Israel, the land of Israel, and that's just what the spies did, which we'll read of in the Torah portion of Shalach. The spies were meant to bring back a positive report, and they brought a negative one. And in the Talmud, we're taught, Rebbe Elazar ben Prata said, come and see how great is the power of an evil tongue. From where do we know its power? From the spies. Because if this is what happens to those who bring an evil report against wood and stones, how much more will it happen to one who brings an evil report against his neighbor? The spies spoke badly about the land of Israel. And that was considered terrible, because if you're going to speak about earth and rocks and have bad things to say, it's only inevitable that you're going to come to have bad things to say about your fellow human being. Our people have experienced this in terms of the land of Israel. It was at the start of the 20th century when the dream of Herzl first started to spread throughout the world, that we had Jews speaking badly about the land of Israel, Jews who were anti-Zionists. There was, on the reform side of the coin, the American Council for Judaism, which opposed Zionism, which opposed Israel, which felt that we, living in the diaspora, were living in the promised land. On the other hand, the ultra-Orthodox spoke badly about Israel, saying, who are these Zionists to start this messianic movement? To come to the land of Israel requires the return of the Messiah, and not until then. Today, we don't have so many Jews speaking about the land of Israel in negative terms. But the sage in the Talmud was right. Once we spoke about the land in a critical voice, it was only inevitable that we would start speaking about the people of Israel in a negative way. If in the beginning of the 20th century, the bad talk was about the land, in our century, the bad talk is about the people of Israel. In recent weeks, and I put together a little list, in recent weeks, I have read in Israeli newspapers and magazines negative words said about just about every possible leader in the state of Israel, about Bibi Netanyahu, about his wife Sarah, about their son Yair, about Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, about Itamar Ben-Gvir, who's head of national services, about Naftali Bennett, the former prime minister, Yariv Levin, the deputy prime minister, Amelia Chikli, Avi Dichter, Yoav Gallant, the defense minister, Mayor Porish, Ron Derma, Miri Regev, Yair Lapid, Shaul Mofaz, Boaz Bismuth, Benjamin Gantz, Moshe Gafni. Have I left anyone out? Yeah, there were a lot of negative things said about the porters at Ben Gurion Airport. One bad thing after another about just about everybody and anybody who's connected to the state of Israel. We have to stop doing this. We have to stop doing this because this is considered the most dangerous form of evil talk. You want to hear a positive form of talking about the people of Israel? I want to read you a story that was told about the late, great Rabbi Soloveitchik, a story that transpired during his only trip to Israel in the summer of 1935. As part of his itinerary, he made a visit to the Kinneret kibbutz in the north of the country. Rabbi Soloveitchik reminisced, "It was a very hot summer day. I was warmly welcomed to this well-known socialist kibbutz. They were known for adhering closely to the principles of communism. When I arrived that morning, the workers were hard at work in the orange groves. They wished to offer me something to eat. They brought me fresh grapes that had recently been picked. I refused to eat the grapes, knowing that they required the tithing of terumot and maserot. And undoubtedly, these secular, anti-religious kibbutzniks were not observing these strictures. But they said to him, no, Rabbi, you don't understand, these grapes are kosher. A representative of the rabbinate comes regularly to our kibbutz to oversee this procedure. We strictly follow all of the guidelines. We can assure you that even our kitchen is kosher." Rav Soloveitchik was bewildered. How could it be, said the Rav? Why would this kibbutz maintain these restrictions? And the members of the kibbutz shared the following incident that took place only a few years prior, when Rav Kook, the first chief rabbi in Palestine, visited that kibbutz for Shabbos. He arrived that Friday afternoon. He brought with him challah and a bottle of wine for Shabbos. He knew that he would not be able to participate in the meals prepared for the kibbutz kitchen, so he brought the basic food needed for his Shabbat meals. He joined the members of the kibbutz in the dining room, which was completely treif. Everyone around him was eating treif food. He found a place at the same table with members of the kibbutz. He then recited the Kiddush over the wine. He washed his hands, pronounced the blessing of Hamotzi over the challah. He ate a modest meal. He then benched. And during the meal and after, all around him, people were not observing Shabbos. Lights were turned on and off in his presence. Rav Kook asked the residents if a group of men would like to get together for a minyan to pray that Shabbos morning. There was no interest. So Rav Kook davened for himself while the members of the kibbutz went out into the fields to work that Shabbos morning. They assembled once again for lunch. Rav Kook once again sat down with them. He recited Kiddush, washed his hands for the motzi. He ate. The remainder of the afternoon, the members of the kibbutz engaged in their regular activity, sewing, cooking. Rav Kook did not say a word. As night fell on the kibbutz, Rav Kook quietly made Havdalah for himself. And later that night, the members of the kibbutz gathered together as they did weekly at this time, for communal singing and dancing. Rav Kook joined with them. He even participated in a dance with the men. And as the night drew to a close, he inched all with them together and together around Rav Kook. With his warmth and open heart, he shared stories about his childhood, his upbringing, and about his parents. No words of disapproval or criticism passed his lips at that time or at any moment. As the sun rose on Sunday morning, Rav Kook prepared to leave. He packed his wagon for the journey ahead. As he ready to say farewell, he was touched to see many kibbutzniks who gathered around him to say goodbye. And Rav Kook gazed at the group and said these few words: Shalom lehitraot v'le'echol b'yachad su'uda achad. Farewell. And I hope that we will soon sit at a meal together. The next day, all the dishes on the kibbutz were thrown out and the kitchen was made to be kosher. Rav Kook's kindness and compassion and not uttering a word of criticism had won over their hearts. Let's all take a lesson to heart. This week, we celebrate the reestablishment of the State of Israel, the greatest miracle to happen to the Jewish people in the last 2,000 years. During this week, let us use this as an opportunity to avoid speaking badly about any Jews. In celebration, only having good to say. That will truly be a modern day miracle. Shabbat Shalom, Chodesh Tov.